Lectures of India's best faculties is now available at www.asfoundation.co.in. Visit the website now.
Is it clear now company's tax rate? Company's tax rate is how much percentage? Domestic company 25% or 30% depending on turnover of previous year 16-17. So some of you still were asking what is the reason for that, because for a couple of years back we had only one single rate for domestic company, 30%. So when in that 30% we gave little bit of relief to small companies, and to understand what is small companies we took the limits of turnover limits, but that also of 2 years back, okay, of previous year, in this case 16-17. So it completely depends on Annual Finance Act. It is not some fixed that we have to look only for that year, that also that much turnover. It all depends on Annual Finance Act given in budget speech. Are you following? For example, in Finance Act 2017 it was uske bhi pehle ka saal 15-16 and turnover limit was 50 crores. Are you following? So this year in 2018 Finance Act, what has happened? Turnover limit is 250 crores. So increase or decrease? Increase, and that also of 16-17. That means now up to 250 crores, those companies can still pay tax at the rate of 25%. Are you following? Yes, so little bit more relief is given now to smaller companies. Yes, fine. You got little bit of notes with you now? Okay. We have yesterday also done marginal relief. Yes. When, in which situation marginal relief comes into play? When additional tax is more than additional income. Yes. So we use marginal relief. What are the steps for marginal relief? Step 1, calculate tax, including surcharge, excluding cess on the total amount, total income. Yes. Second step, calculate tax, including surcharge, depends on the situation. If it is less than 50 lakhs individual, then no surcharge. Yes, but up to what? Previous slab. Yes or no? Then compare both of them. Step 1 minus step 2 will be your step 3. What is that? Whatever that number comes, what is that? That is additional tax. Very good. Compare that with additional income. Compare with your previous slab, whatever that is, without surcharge or at a lesser rate surcharge. Then what? That is your step 4 will be marginal relief. Step 3 minus additional income. Yes, that is your marginal relief. Then in your regular computation, what will you do? Gross total income, on that add or calculate basic tax as well as surcharge, add surcharge, then minus marginal relief. Yes, and then you add cess at 4%. Correct? Very good. Come to page 1.6. What did we say? In which year the income is taxed? Checked or taxed? In assessment year. Income earned of previous year. Yes, there are certain exceptions to it. That means we don't wait for the assessment year. We tax that income in the previous year itself. Samajh rahe ho? So taxation will be done, or it will be checked, verified, assessed in the same previous year. There are certain exceptions. So check on 1.6. Second paragraph. When income of previous year is not taxable in the immediately following assessment year. Everyone there? Yes or no? So check the points. So below are circumstances which are exception to the general rule that income earned in previous year is to be taxed in immediately as relevant assessment. Exceptions. First one, income of non-resident from shipping business, where a ship belonging to or chartered by a non-resident carries passengers, livestock, mail or goods shipped at any port in India. The ship is allowed to leave the port only when the tax has been paid or satisfactory arrangement has been made for payment thereof. So if at all any ships comes to India and tax is due on whoever is the owner of that ship cannot leave until tax is paid. That means even if in the previous year the ship or the ship owner is earning income, that time itself he has to also pay the tax and not wait for the assessment year. Okay. Second, income of persons leaving India either permanently or for a long period of time. That means those persons who are shifting their base from India to abroad. So we don't wait for them to leave India. Then we will wait for previous year to be over. Then we will check their income and tax return assessment year. No. So if the assessing officer feels that a person is leaving India permanently, he can tax in the previous year itself or check the income in the previous year itself. Third, income of bodies formed for a very short duration. That means for a particular event or purpose. That means a new entity is created, that event is done itself, that now entity is dissolved also. Okay, in that situation, whenever it is over, a particular event is over in that previous year itself, that entity will be taxed. Okay, then fourth one, income of a person trying to alienate his assets. Alienate matlab in this situation, part away with, okay, or remove or sell his assets with a view to avoiding payment of tax. That means he's trying to dispose all of his assets. Dispose matlab keep it in someone else's name, and then he will say that this is not my property, I never earned income on it. Okay, so whenever he's trying to run away from his own property on which he had earned income, in that situation, income tax officer can still tax it in the previous year itself, till the time it is his still property. And lastly, income of a discontinued business. So if a business is discontinued, no more now taking place, again we will not wait for the entire previous year to get over and then we will tax. We can tax it in that year itself. So you have to remember these 5 couple of situations where it is a exception to the general rule. Okay, what is the general rule? Income earned in previous year will be taxed in assessment year. So what are the exceptions? Income earned in previous year will be also be taxed in previous year. Okay? Okay. Also check special rates of tax 1.8 page. Can you see special rates of tax? Everyone? Can you see section number 112, etc., etc.? So that section number is of Income Tax Act. Okay, not of Finance Act. So these special rates of tax are given by Income Tax Act. Are you following? So we have to follow 2 rates of tax. Which one? One given by Finance Act, another given by Income Tax Act. So just go through those income tax rates. Special tax or rates. 112, 111A. Check them. So what is the tax rate on crossword or lottery winnings or gambling? 30%. Is it final? Oh, again blanket rate? It is blanket rate right now. Yes, 30%. What about undisclosed income? What do you think what will be the meaning of undisclosed income? Not declared. Undisclosed means not disclosed. No, undeclared kind of income. Unaccounted, you can also say. Some income is not reflected in his books of account. In that situation, that we call it as undisclosed income. That means his intention was wrong. His intention was to hide his income. That's why not pay tax on it. In that case, he is taxed at directly 60%. Okay. Then section 112 and 111A, they talk about long-term capital gain and short-term capital gain tax rates, 20% and 15%. And lastly, 115 BBD, again a new addition since last year. It is what? 10% for dividend exceeding rupees 10 lakhs in aggregate. So again, important point that today as it is, we know that dividend is not taxable, but again dividend income has come into eye of, you can say, Finance Ministry or Revenue Department. They want to tax dividend income also. Okay, so dividend income, but that also above rupees 10 lakhs. So a person who earns dividend, that also above 10 lakh rupees, that amount will be taxed to income tax. At what rate? So it is a kind of nominal rate, but still 10%. Are you following? So these are all special rates of tax. Are you following? Yes. So we have to do at times separate tax calculations. Okay. Gambling or betting? What about casino? Casino winnings? They are regulated, no? They are regulated. Casino winnings that way. Crossword puzzles, which you solve in newspaper or magazines. It depends on luck, skill also and fate also. Not unregulated gambling. Gambling is still there. It is valid. Or let us say casino games mein kya ho gaya? It is you are putting money on something. Or let us say lottery it is still regulated in some states. So lottery winning is still there and lottery winning is still taxed. So it depends from state to state also. Okay. What is revenue expenditure? Not a big expense. Okay, amount wise. Okay. Not recurring. Very good. Which one? Revenue or capital? Revenue is recurring. Capital is not recurring. What else? The purpose is for long, or the benefit may be for long term, just like fixed assets. That expenditure will be capital expenditure, right? And for your trading activity, day-to-day activity, whatever expenditure you do, that is your revenue expenditure. And if I just reverse the case, I can have revenue income as well as capital income. The same logic which you have used for expenditure, the same logic you can use for income also. Your regular income will be what? Revenue income or capital income? Revenue income. So one of that, one-off incomes. One-off means irregular incomes. Kabhi kabhi hota hai. Windfall gains, you can say. Those kind of incomes will be revenue income or capital income. They will be treated as capital income. Samajh rahe ho? Then the frequency of transaction will be where? Revenue mein zyada hoga, right? So even the income side, the frequency of that income is higher compared to capital receipt or capital income. Are you following? So just like you said, lottery, gambling, those kind of incomes will be what? Revenue income or capital income? They will be as such capital receipt. That is not your whole and soul, maybe your bread and butter. That is not the only source of income. But let us say salary income. A person is employed somewhere. In that case, his income will be revenue income. Are you following? Now, when I talk about capital expenditure and revenue expenditure, usually your capital expenditure sits in balance sheet and revenue expenditure sits in profit and loss. So similar again concepts lies in income side also. Your regular day-to-day income will lie in P&L, and maybe one of the transactions of income of capital receipt they will sit in balance sheet. So keep one thing in mind, most of the times we are only concerned with only profit and loss account. Whatever happens in profit and loss account on income side, that is our main concern. That is what we are going to tax always. Okay. So tax as such lies mainly first on revenue income. Are you following? So there are two important rules you have to keep in mind. Revenue income always taxed. Okay. Revenue income always taxed. Again, not taxed if exceptions are given. But what is the general statement? Revenue income will always be taxed to income tax. Yes, but only if certain items it is given to you in the act कि this particular income will not be taxed. Even if it is revenue income, but that income will not be taxed, only in that situation we keep it exempted or tax free. Are you following? So general rule is what? Revenue income always taxed. Is it okay? And similarly, on the reverse case, capital receipts or capital income should not be taxed or will not be taxed. Okay. So again here there be exception. That means they will be taxed if told specifically by income tax law. Are you following? What example? Just now, same thing, crossword, lottery, gambling, all those examples. The income is of revenue income or capital income. So what the general rule says, they are not taxed. But In income tax law, these incomes are also specifically, they are told to be taxed. That's why we tax them. Are you following? Yes. So specifically told they will be taxed. And revenue income, they are always taxed. But again, if specifically told to be exempted, in that situation we exempt. Understood this? Very good. There will always be conflict. Any transaction you can think of, there will always be conflict to draw a line between what is capital and what is revenue. On both sides, expenditure as well as income also. This battle between revenue and capital will always be there for a period of time. Okay, you have to decide what should be revenue and what should be capital based on previous case laws, judgments, circulars, notifications, etc. etc. समझ रहे हो? That's why whenever we have dispute, we refer to earlier case laws also. Check page 1.12. We did till yesterday question 13. Yes. The next questions are addition to your ICI material. That is why I have considered that as well. Question 13 का आंसर क्या? 13 sorry 14. A domestic company means A, B, C or D. Now these kind of questions will be asked now. MCQ questions. Good. A or D? Go back where we discuss company as a person. Go back there, check. Domestic company, उसमें दो types थे. We had a diagram also, some diagram also we had. किधर गया? Page 1.4, no? Classes of company. Domestic company includes two companies. One is Indian company, that means which is registered in India, as well as foreign company which has made arrangement to declare dividend from income chargeable to tax in India. Are you following? So, Indian domestic company means which one? D, option D. Understood? Question 15. The rates of income tax are mentioned in Income Tax Act only. Both Income Tax Act and rules में income tax के rates नहीं आते हैं. Okay? Depreciation के rates आते हैं, but not tax rates. Only first schedule of Annual Finance Act? No. So we know option A and C have to be together, they will be correct, which is given in option D. So both income tax as well as first schedule of Annual Finance Act. Yes. So Income Tax Act, whatever income tax rates are given, we are also calling them as special rates of tax. Income tax rates given to us in Income Tax Act, we are also calling them as special rates of tax. Just now we did, no? 111, 12, etc., etc. Yes. Okay. Very good. 16. In respect of non-resident assessee who is of the age of 60 years or more but less than 80 years at any time during the previous year 18-19, basic assessment limit is A, B, C, D. कितना? A. Clear? Very good. Yes. 17. In case of domestic companies, whose gross receipts for PY 16-17 is rupees 51 crores. The rate of tax applicable is 25%. Star mark this question because this is a kind of amendment question. Good chances of coming. Now you have notes also with you, printed notes, so you can refer. Tell me your answer. Question 18 ka. The surcharge applicable to a domestic company for AY 1920 is. Surcharge domestic company is only 7% or 12%. Yes, no. So option C or D. So what is correct? 7 and 12. Option D. I hope you gone through the options. Yes, very good. So 18 ka answer is option D. 19. Calculate. AJP 3,10,000. We have not done AJP, but it is similar to which one? AJP, BOI, political parties. Individual below 60 years of age. That means slab rates. Basic registration limit is 2.5 lakhs. Income kitna diya in this question? 3,10,000. Calculate. $60,000 into 5%, no? Yes or no? 3,000 and surcharge nil. They are talking of basic tax only, no? They are in the options anywhere. They have not considered this cess. Cess nahi hai na options mein. So keep basic tax only. Kitna aega? 3,000 and surcharge nil. Understood? So look at the options also. Individual, resident. Check now. Underline that. No problem. You have doubt, good, no? But underline that. So rebate only to individual. That also resident. Below 60 years only. ऐसा कोई रूल तो नहीं है. ऐसा कोई रूल तो नहीं है. But we discuss about super senior citizen also. Rebate to super senior citizen, resident. Not applicable मतलब कभी होगा ही नहीं. उनके up to 5 lakhs exempt ही है. Okay. I hope you remember condition for rebate 3.5 lakhs. 20 क्या बोल रहा है? Income of previous year will be charged into tax in the assessment year following the previous year. Discuss the exceptions to this general rule. Underline the word exceptions. So what do you have to write? 5 exceptions. So you can over there in bracket just write down 5 exceptions for your answer. And over here we don't have story as such because this is a direct question, right? So you can say the following exceptions are to the general rule. And what will you write? All those 5 situations. Yes? Alright? Yes or no? Okay, no? And last question what? Explain the concept of marginal relief under Income Tax Act 1961. What will you write? Concept. First of all, concept. First, when it is applicable, that you have to say, no? You have to first describe or tell what is marginal relief. So what, matlab, why we have to talk about. Yes. So to discuss, there is a disproportionate increase in income and increase in tax. Or marginal relief is granted in situation where additional tax is more than additional income. So to give relief to the taxpayer, we have to reduce marginal relief from the tax liability. Yes. Then you can write the steps. Yes. Marginal relief is calculated as follows. It depends on the length of the basically marks. If it is only for 2 marks, you will just write that much. Additional tax is more than additional income. Let us say if it is for 4 marks, then write the steps. It is not going to take much time. Following? Again, don't yourself create one example of 51 lakhs and then calculate that tax, marginal relief. It is not an 8 mark question. Are you following? Utna hi likho. For 4 marks, just write what is marginal relief and steps. That is sufficient. Understood? Bolo. नहीं आएगा नहीं. I was just hypothetically saying that. Okay? Tell me whether you remember this word subsidy in income tax. Where did you read it? National income? In income tax. In our batch. Income tax. Definition of income. Go back, check. What is income? It is an inclusive list, ना? Exhaustive, बहुत बड़ा list है. Do you see subsidy over there? Cash incentive or subsidy? है ना last line? Very good. So they have given you an examples of types of income. Is it telling you what is income? No, it's giving you examples of types of income. Then income can be so and so. Then you decide that income is what? Capital receipt or revenue receipt. Are you following? Then you check exceptions, whether this is to be taxed or not taxed, etc., etc. Are you understanding? Pakka? So subsidy is an income? Yes. But then what is the next step after this? Bolo. It is an income? Yes, first of all. Okay. Then what you have to check whether it is a revenue income or capital income. Very good. Yes or no? What does the general rule say? Capital income not to be taxed. Revenue income always to be taxed. Yes? Now, subsidy, from where you get subsidy? From government. So there has basically an objective or intention of government to give you subsidy. For example, now pay attention. You can get a discount or subsidy in your electricity bill. Okay? Depending on number of units of consumption of electricity, some paise or some rupee is given as a subsidy. Is it a fixed amount? No, it depends on your consumption. So whoever is going to use whatever electricity, on that it is variable, the amount of subsidy. Electricity, is it a revenue expenditure or a capital expenditure? Revenue expenditure. So you are getting a subsidy for your revenue expenditure. So subsidy is an income first of all? Subsidy. Subsidy is an income. Yes. So this is now important. Just because you hear the word subsidy, it doesn't mean taxable or not taxable. You have to look at the intention, the purpose behind that subsidy. Are you following? So in this example, when I say a discount will be given in electricity bill, that kind of subsidy is a revenue income. Are you following? That kind of example can be a revenue income. Similarly, if any subsidy is given to you for machinery, purchase of assets, plant and machinery, some discount is given. You buy the machinery, you show the invoice, etc. Government will pay you back. Okay. Now that expenditure was for what purpose? Machinery or capital expenditure. And you have got a discount in your capital expenditure. Are you following? So you got benefit or income, let us say, subsidy is still an income. But that kind of income will now be treated as capital income. Are you following? So which we will tax? Which subsidy we can tax? Revenue related subsidy we can tax. And obviously, if the subsidy falls in capital income, type of income, we will not tax. Are you following? So just because the word is said subsidy is income, it has to be taxed? No. We have to look at facts of each and every case, where it fits actually. Are you following? What will income tax department will try to do? It will try to, whichever kind of income or whichever kind of subsidy, it will try to keep it as revenue or it will try to keep it as capital. They will try to keep it in revenue, that is, it is taxable. And what will we try to do? As taxpayer, we will try to say that it is capital. So there can be a dispute, no? There can be dispute. So that is why we have to also solve dispute by looking into facts of the matter. Understood? And obviously taking help of the earlier judgments. That in that judgment, it was the same kind of subsidy and it was held by Supreme Court that it is not to be taxed. Why are you again harassing me? It is same kind of subsidy. Are you following? That is why we give reference to your older judgments. Understood? Pakka? Very good. So what is the general rule? Revenue income always taxed, not taxed in exceptions. Samjha? And capital income or capital receipt not to be taxed, taxed in exceptions. Understood this? Very good. Let me talk about builder. Just a small example of revenue versus capital. Builder, you understand? A person who is, or a contractor who constructs a building and then sells the flats, let us say. Okay, I'm not going into malls or complex, I'm talking of residential building. All right. So what is his revenue expenditure? All the costs involved to construct that building. Yes. And in that building, whatever are those flats, okay, they are basically single units. Yes or no? This units or this property basically should lie where? It is his stock or is it his asset? It is his stock in trade. It is his stock in trade. Are you following? This is not his fixed assets as such. The machinery or some other instruments or tools he might be using, that might be fixed assets. But expenditure over here, these are all expenditure of what? Revenue expenditure, you can say. But of course, we incur that for throughout or couple of years, but it is a revenue expenditure, right? Even that units will be stock in trade and not just fixed assets. Understood? So whatever income he is going to earn by selling these flats, residential flats, that income is what? Revenue income or capital income? It is obviously sale will be revenue income. So can you take a defense? No, this takes lots of time. No, this is a building, this is an asset. Bolo. We'll go to some other situation. Let me complete this example first. Okay. So from builder's point of view, whatever he is selling, those units, that entire property is stock in trade and that income is revenue income. Very good. Now let us say this builder sells it to Mr. A from salary income. Okay. Mr. A is a separate individual now. He works in TCS and he earns lots of salary income. Let us say 5 lakhs rupees per month is okay. 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 So he earns salary income. Pay attention now. Mr. A's income is salary income. That income is revenue income, obviously. Yes. And he purchases a flat from this builder. Obviously, he is going to pay to builder consideration and then he will become owner of this property. Is it okay till here? Are you following? So money moved from Mr. A to builder. Yes. So whose income it is? Builders. And that income is revenue income. Now whose property it is? Asset now of Mr. A. Now this is his asset and not stock in trade. Why? Because he is not dealing in buying and selling of flats or construction of flats. He took this property for residential purpose or basically for investment purpose. Are you following? This now unit property will lie where? In his balance sheet. Understood? Now let us say he owned this flat and he paid to builder, he stayed there for 3 years, etc., etc. And because of change of his office or employer, he had to shift his city itself. Are you following? So he obviously looked for selling of this property. Yes? Are you following? Now Mr. A is selling his property. Oh, everyone following till here? What happens usually to flats? Appreciation or depreciation? For building it is appreciation. Very good. So there will be an increase in sale price. Okay. For whatever price he had bought. Let us say now the market is in boom. He got higher price than what he had purchased it for. Is it okay? Mr. B is interested to buy this property. So Mr. B buys from Mr. A. So income will flow from Mr. B to Mr. A. Now this kind of income is what? Revenue income or capital income? So it is clear to you. So on the same set of property, it can be revenue income also. It can be capital income also, depending on your use, purpose, etc. Samajh rahe ho? Very good. So what is the general rule? Capital income to be taxed or not taxed? Not taxed. But in this particular transaction, this situation, it is taxed because it is specifically given in income tax law that sale of capital asset, on that capital gain arises and we have to tax capital gain. Are you following? Yes? समझा कि नहीं समझा? Any other question? हो गया solve? नहीं हुआ? हाँ तो बोलो. हाँ पूछो अभी. Why? Capital expenditure पे tax नहीं है. Expenditure, okay. Why are you taxing expenditure? Buy every year and sell every year. Okay. We are going to tax whatever comes in. Income. Okay. Gone with the wind. Understood this a little bit? Capital versus revenue? Yes? So, non-residents do not get benefit of slab rates, but residents get. So, come to chapter 2. Okay. What is the first word you see in the chapter 2? Citizenship not equal to residential status. Okay. In income tax, first chapter we saw tax rates. The tax rates we were levying on resident or non-resident. Were we talking in citizen of India and non-citizen of India? No. So we are completely not concerned with citizenship. समझा के नहीं समझा? We are not concerned with citizenship. We are concerned with residential status. So below 60 years of age, an individual, and you are giving him 2.5 lakhs benefit, or 2.5 lakhs it begins with. He has to be what? He has to be a resident. Okay? And irrespective of age, if he is a non-resident, again his tax rates are from 2.5 lakhs. Yes? Again, rebate benefit only to resident individual and not to non-resident. So there will be difference between individual resident and individual non-resident. समझ रहे हो? Very good. So who is a resident and who is a non-resident? This first of all completely doesn't depend on citizenship. Is it clear? What do you mean by citizenship? You get citizenship by birth. Maybe you get migrated to some other country. You get citizenship right of that country. You get voting rights of that country, so on and so on. Yes? So there are so many Indians who have migrated to USA since decades. Yes? Are you following? Who might have been born here or whose parents were born here and now they are migrated to USA since decades. And now since decades, now they are also citizen of USA. They are, we call them as person of Indian origin. Person of Indian origin. Okay. In that case, their origin is from India, but now they have become citizen of US. Are you following? They get whatever that green card or their passport or whatever that is, or basically voting rights also of USA. Are you following? Do they have citizenship of India as they had initially, but now they have citizenship of USA. And depending on whatever the rules of citizenship, you may not have two citizenship, that is separate rules. But they have now citizenship of USA. Are you following? Till you're okay? So whether to tax that person as resident or non-resident, it doesn't depend on citizenship. समझ रहे हो? So every Indian has to pay tax. That is not the case. So those Indians, let us say, who have migrated to USA since couple of decades now and have not come to India, will you tax them? No. They are outside only. You will call them as resident or non-resident? You will call them as non-resident. So what is the word meaning of this word resident? Residency means what now? It means from where you are or wherever you are staying. You are resident right now of a particular city. Your main location or your native place may be something else or some other city. Just like you have permanent address and temporary address. Are you following? So temporary address means you can say residency, wherever you are residing right now. Are you following? So whether a resident or not, that depends on wherever a person is residing. Are you understanding? So only and only if a person is residing in India, in that case we can call him as resident. Okay? Obviously there are more complex rules than that. But if a person, even if of Indian origin, if he is not residing in India, then we call him as non-resident. समझ रहे हो? So just because a person may have an Indian citizenship, you may not call him a resident. Are you following? And similarly or exactly opposite, a person not having Indian citizenship, he can be Indian resident for income tax purpose. I am repeating. a person not having Indian citizenship, a foreigner, an American, an Australian, a Japanese, anybody, okay, he can be Indian resident for income tax purpose. Understood this? So don't keep this in mind that foreigners cannot file income tax returns of India, that foreigners cannot pay tax in India, that foreigners cannot apply for PAN in India. This is a wrong concept. Understood? Are you following? So citizenship has nothing to do with income tax or residency in India. Is it clear? That's why when you had asked, how can persons file income tax returns from outside India? That means those income tax returns are filed by non-residents also. Okay? So don't use the word citizenship in this chapter. We are concerned with residency. Are you following? Come to 2.1 page. Check residence and scope of total income. Check left hand side first of the table. Residential status given in section 2. Page 2.1 everyone. 2.1. On the left hand side of the table, what do you see? Residential status section 6. Again on the left hand side of that, what do you see? Individuals or HUFs. Very good. Under individual and HUF, what do you see? Resident and non-resident. And do we have any subtypes of non-residents? No, but we have subtypes of resident. Resident and ordinarily resident, as well as resident but not ordinarily resident. Okay? So like I said, chapter 1 was warm up. Okay? Now we'll start with core of the chapter. Okay? So what are we deciding? Whether, let us focus first only on individual and HUF. That also particularly only on individuals. Whether an individual is a resident or non-resident. Yes? And if he is a resident, we can have further types. What are the further types? Resident but and ordinary resident, and secondly resident but not ordinarily resident. समझ रहे हो? तो resident के बाद क्या है? बार बार रहता है. So ordinarily he is a resident of India. And second category क्या है? Resident but he is not ordinarily staying or resident of India. Are you following? So जो कभी कभी आता है जाता है, कभी कभी आता है जाता है, he may be RNOR, resident and not ordinarily resident. समझ रहे हो? और जो यहाँ पे इंडिया में है, resides and ordinarily most of the times he is in India, we call him ROR, resident and ordinarily resident. समझ रहे हो? और ये जो दोनों कैटेगरी में नहीं है, whoever doesn't fall in the category of resident, he becomes non-resident. Understood this? Yes. So from chapter 1, we had done bifurcation only between resident and non-resident. Are you following? So only at first level we can do the bifurcation, resident and non-resident for income tax rates. But if you have to decide whether he is actually ROR or RNOR, we have to go a little bit further. Are you understanding? The importance is that check on page, where can we check? (2.2) Residential status. Can you see scope of total income, section 5? Yes? There are 3 columns made. Which one? ROR, resident and ordinarily resident. Okay? Next column is resident but not ordinarily resident. And third category is directly non-resident. What is the normal meaning of ordinarily resident? Matlab he is here. Ordinarily or majority of the time he is a resident. And not ordinarily means what? Not most of the time he is in India. Are you following? He means now anybody irrespective of citizenship. Is it clear? We are discussing case of individual now. Okay? बच्चों, before that table you can check the diagram. उसके ऊपर residential status check. Individual or HUF. Under individual or HUF you can have resident or non-resident. Page 2.2 diagram. And under resident you can have ROR or RNOR. Is it okay? But for firms, AOP, local authority, company, what you can have? Only 2 categories. Which one? Resident and non-resident. That's it. Is it okay? Fine. Check on that again. Section 5. Scope of total income. First one, ROR. what is it saying? Income received or deemed to be received, accrued or arisen or deemed to accrue or arise in or outside India, it will be taxable. That is, global income is taxable. Which categories? ROR. So if a person is ROR, that means whatever income he earns, whether in India, outside India, deemed to be received in India, outside India, any kind of income, all of his income will be taxed. Understood? Taxed where? In India. We are learning Indian income tax law. Okay? Second column is of RNOR, resident but not ordinarily resident. Now check which incomes are taxable of this person. Okay, there is a difference. Income which is received, deemed to be received, accrued or arisen, deemed to accrue or arise in India. Okay, in India, and income which accrues or arises outside India, being derived from a business controlled from or profession set up in India. Right now, temporarily forget the second part and ke aage wala. Just focus on first paragraph. What does it say? What is important over there? In India. That pay attention now. That income which accrued or arised only in India, that income is taxed of RNOR. Compare that with ROR. Any income within India, outside India. That's why we call it as whatever income he earns, global income, that will be taxed in India. Kiska? Whose? ROR. But what about RNOR? Only those which he has received or deemed to be received, accrued or arisen, where? In India only. Okay. Now for RNOR, check separate once exceptional items are given. Check. Income which accrued or arises outside India. Okay. Are you following? In India, outside India at least? So the source of income is source in India or outside India in the second situation? Outside India. Very good. But from that business or profession which was controlled or set up in India. Are you following? So let us say there is a company in India. It has a branch outside India. Branch outside India. Let us say in Africa. Is it okay? A person earned income from that African company. Is it okay? But that African company was managed or controlled from India. Okay. So if a person is RNOR, even this income will be taxed in India. Understanding? It will be deemed that it has been arised in India. Are you following? So any income which has arisen in India, that is taxed for RNOR, yes or no? Yes. Any income which is accrued outside India, is it taxable? Only in two situations. Which one? He has earned that income from a business or profession which was set up or controlled from India. So only if there is an Indian connection to that, that income will be taxed. Are you following? Don't forget that income is getting accrued or generated outside India in special situation for RNOR. What about ROR? Income arised in India or income arised outside India, doesn't matter. Income can be of anywhere, it will be still taxed in India. Is it okay? Very good. And what about NR, non-resident? Only that income in India. Income received or deemed to be received or accrued or arisen and deemed to accrue or arise in India. That means for non-resident, if only he has some Indian connection, the source of income, it is getting generated in India, only then that income is also taxed in India. Are you following? So isn't the first line common for all three of them? Isn't the first line common for all three of them? ROR, RNOR, NR. So what analysis you can do? Whichever income which is getting generated in India. Very good. That is taxed in India. That means the source or the income generation place is India. That will be taxed. Are you following? So can you tell me, if the source of income is outside India, whether a non-resident will be taxed in India? No. Very good. Are you following? Income source is outside India, received to non-resident, it has no Indian connection, it will not be taxed in India. Are you following little bit? Yes? So there are how many categories for individual or HUF when it comes to residency? 3. ROR, RNOR, NR. Is it clear? Very good. Now, how to decide who is who? That you have to decide now. Okay? Pay attention. Resident and resident, this is common. Okay? Resident and resident, this is common. So for chapter 1, which whatever calculation you have done for resident, it can be either of it, ROR or RNOR. Are you following? Only the last situation you have done for non-resident, what? Irrespective of age, you had given basic accession limit of 2.5 lakhs. That will fall over non-resident. Are you following? Yes? Come to that again, columns पर उसके नीचे ROR must satisfy what? At least one of the basic conditions and both of the additional conditions. Okay, so there are two conditions, two set of conditions. One is what? Basic condition, and another is additional condition. Yes or no? Okay, so there are two sets of conditions, basic and additional. Under both of them there are again two conditions. Okay, tell me when you will treat ROR, what all situations ROR? Check. Must satisfy at least one of the basic condition. Pay attention, at least one means what? One or more. Okay, is it correct? Three situations. Is it correct? Three situations, at least one means what? Are you understanding tick mark not and not tick mark? Condition number 1 met, condition number 2 not met in basic condition, and similarly. Okay? Okay. And what does it say about additional condition? Both the conditions should be satisfied. So there is no option in additional condition. Understood? In this situation, are you following what is happening? नहीं समझ. It's okay. Are you understood? There are three categories: ROR, RNOR, and NR. For ROR to be a person or individual to be categorized, or individual only to be categorized as ROR, there is again I have given you condition. Check below ROR. What does it say? Repeat after me. Must satisfy, bolo, at least one of the basic conditions. Till that only. Pay attention. At least one means what? One or more. There are how many conditions in basic conditions? 2. Yes. So first situation, pay attention. Is basic condition number 1 met? When I do tick mark, it means what? Yes, it is met. Will that do? Is it okay? With basic condition, any problem? He must satisfy at least one. One is satisfied? Yes. And आगे उसके क्या लिखा है? And both the additional conditions. In additional, there is no option. Both of them have to be satisfied. Are you understanding? And then I have done all the permutation and combination. There is no option in additional conditions, but basic condition at least one. So basic condition number 1 met, second not met. Or basic condition number 1 not met, second met. Or both of them met. Understood? Met matlab we'll see what are those conditions, that is yet to be seen. Understood? In that case, it will be treated as ROR. Write down this. Individual, give heading. Individual residency status. Individual residency status. So tick mark means what? Condition met or not met, and cross means condition not met. Smart. So only in this situation you can say individual can be ROR. Yes. Which income is taxable of ROR? Global income. Simple words, global income. All income is taxable of ROR. कुछ भी ऑन करने दो, किधर का भी ऑन करने दो. If an individual is ROR, taxed in India. Okay. Check second column now. RNOR. Okay. What does it say? Income deemed or accrued only in India or accrued outside India, but that income was controlled from a business or profession which was set up in India. Okay. But to be RNOR, check the situation. Must satisfy at least one of the basic conditions. So tell me, in basic conditions, whether there is any discrimination between ROR and RNOR. Read, okay? Read properly. And all of you, don't be so casual now. RNOR, what does it say? Must satisfy at least one of the basic conditions. So it is similar to your ROR. So only these three situations again. Yes. But what does it talk about additional condition? One or none. One or none of the additional conditions. Yes or no? So must satisfy one or none. मतलब क्या, कहाँ पे क्रॉस मार्क आएगा? लेट अस से यहाँ पे और ये दोनों पे क्रॉस मार्क. यस और नो? Read again, refer to this diagram and check whether it is right or not. Copy this again, tables. Done? So basic condition both have to be met, compulsory? No, at least one is okay. Very good. And what about additional conditions? One or none. That is opposite now. Okay. And what if we satisfy both of it? Additional conditions also. Very good. He becomes ROR. Right? So like I said, in ROR, no option in additional conditions. Yes or no? Earlier it was all tick mark in additional conditions. Yes. So in additional condition, even if there is cross off, what will happen? RNOR. Very good. Yes. Very good. And check NR in that column, page 2.2. Must not satisfy either of the basic conditions. Must not satisfy either of the basic conditions. So do we basically go to additional conditions? No, we don't even go to additional conditions. Okay, for non-resident. So which situation? Which situation will go from here or change in this example now? First, मतलब पहला column, second column or third column? All must not satisfy either. Either मतलब क्या? Any one of them should not satisfy. Yes or no? Must not satisfy either of the दोनों sorry. Both the conditions should not be satisfied. This will go, or this tick mark we can write it as cross mark. Both the basic conditions not met. Yes. Alright? And if only one is met, it can be now ROR or RNOR. Then we further check additional conditions. So NR is blocked at first level only. Additional conditions both not met. So definitely we don't check additional conditions. But out of this, even if one is met, he becomes ROR or RNOR. Then we have to go and check what? Additional condition to exactly define ROR आएगा या RNOR होगा. Yes, are you following? Okay. So till now we have just discussed only basic condition to be satisfied, not satisfied, additional condition to be satisfied or not satisfied. Let us check what is basic condition and what is additional condition. Alright. Are you ready? Check point number 1. Individual on the basis of number of days of stay in India. Where had we seen definition of India? We have seen a 25A, resident of India. Yes, this is also given in the same chapter. Also I have given you definition of India: land, Indian water, space, etc., etc. Okay. 12 nautical miles. Remember that. So basically, we are now talking of physical presence. We are finding out residential status of who, which kind of person? Individual. Individual means now we are deciding his residential status depending on his physical stay. Physical stay in India. Are you following? Very good. So check basic conditions. How many basic conditions are there? 2. Very good. So check basic condition number 1. Must be present in India for a period of 182 days or more during the previous year. This is basic condition number 1. That during the previous year he should be there in India for how much period? 182 days or more. This is basic condition number 1. Or basic condition number 2. What is basic condition number 2? Must be present in India for a period of 60 days or more during the previous year and 365 days or more during the 4 years immediately preceding the previous year. Okay, so in basic condition also there are 2 situations, yes or no? What does 1 say? One or 2 days or more in PY. Or means what? Obviously second situation. Okay, what does second condition tell you? Second basic condition tell you? So in PY what do you want? More than 60 in PY, but more than 365 in previous 4 previous years. अब ये जो previous year है उसके पहले before that 4 previous years, in that period he should be there for how many period? 365 days or more. Are you following? We are yet to do lots of examples, but just first of all understand the theory right now. Okay, so 365 days or more during the 4 years immediately preceding the previous year. Are you following? So in the previous year he has to be for at least 60 days. Yes, are you following? So what if he is in India for 180 days? 180 days in the previous year, whether basic condition number 1 is met? 180 days, no. So you will check basic condition number 2. Whether basic condition number 2 is met. For that we require more data of the more further 4 previous years. So when I say 180 days, in that basic condition number 2, whether first part is met? Yes, more than 60 days hai in previous year. But we also require data of earlier 4 years. Are you following? In previous preceding 4 PYs. Are you following till here? Just understand theory right now. You have to do lots of sum. These are your basic conditions. Okay. So in example now, if a person was in India for 30 days in the previous year, in previous year the person was for 30 days in India. Status. Everyone. Basic condition number 1 met? No. Basic condition number 2 met? No. Then NR. Non-resident. No, don't call him Indian now. Non-resident. Understood?
It can be an R and or if additional, if one of the additional conditions is met.
Both of the conditions should not be met to become NR,
Yeah.
non-resident.
But if one of the additional conditions is met by him, then he will be resident not.
For non-resident, we don't go into additional condition. We have written what? No. Check. Both of them tick mark cross. Have you anytime written cross both of it at basic condition? Check. For ROR and RNOR. Both basic condition cross? No. Are you following? So both basic condition cross, not satisfied, non-resident. Are you following? So at least a little bit of breathing period is given of 60 days. But if you are in the previous year also less than 60 days, you become non-resident. Are you following? Okay. But you have to check second part also, okay? You have to check second part also. That means he is in previous year for 60 days and before that 4 years he was total period of 365 days in India. Is it okay? Yes? So these are your basic conditions. And what are additional conditions? More interesting. So will we check additional condition for non-resident? If both the basic conditions are not met, he is non-resident. Khatam. So tell me, why are we checking additional condition? Very good. To classify between ROR and RNOR. And what is common between ROR and RNOR? They are resident. Very good. So first two basic conditions will tell you, if satisfied even one, he is resident. Then you check additional condition to decide ROR or RNOR. Very good. Understood this? Very good. So check additional conditions. Again, number of days are given, specified by income tax department. I have no role to play in that number of days deciding. Okay. So additional condition again. Check. He is resident in at least 2 of the 10 previous years preceding the relevant previous year. Resident in 2 or more PY out of how many? 10 PY. Okay, of course preceding the current previous year. Are you following? I hope previous year is clear now. Previous year means the financial year as good as financial year. Alright. So for this previous year, uske pehle ke whatever the 10 years, in that 10 years you will check whether he is resident or not. Any resident. Are you following? Okay. Second. And check second condition. His stay in India in the last 7 years preceding the relevant previous year is more than 730 days or more. Are you following? So we go back to now further or previous 7 years compared to the current previous year, and then what do we check? His number of days stay in India is how much? 730 days or more. Are you following? These are the dual conditions in additional conditions. Yes? If both of them met, then what? ROR. Very good. If only one met, other not met, any of them? RNOR. If both of them not met, RNOR. Fantastic. Are you following? Yes? Okay. So check that last line under that paragraph only. If the individual satisfies both the additional conditions mentioned above, he is resident and ordinarily resident. But if only one or none of the conditions are satisfied, he becomes RNOR. Are you following? Why are we discussing ROR, RNOR, NR? To tax his income or to tax only the relevant income. ROR, global income is taxed. RNOR, only Indian income is taxed. Can I say Indian income? Indian income means that income which is arising or accruing or deemed to be accrued in India. Yes? There is an additional situation also for RNOR. Income deemed or accrued outside India, but from that business or profession which was controlled in India. Yes? And non-resident, only again Indian source of income is taxed in India. Like I said, those basically now persons of Indian origin who have now migrated to USA since couple of decades, they have, or let us say they have their house properties in India from their inherited property, but they are not, let us say, using it They have house property in India, but where are they staying? In US. Are you following? And once they sell that house property, or maybe if at all they are earning rent from that house property, what is the source of income? India. That income is getting generated in India. What is the residential status of that person? Non-resident, not citizenship. Residency is, he is non-resident. Are you following? But that income is getting generated in India. Will it be taxed in India? Yes. Because source of income is India. So can I say one more thing now? Indian income is always taxed. Indian income is always taxed. Yes. So can I say the income which is earned outside India is nothing but foreign income? Are you following? Income earned or generated outside India is foreign income. Yes. So for ROR, Indian income as well as foreign income is taxed? Yes. Are you following? RNOR, Indian income and only that foreign income which has set up or control from India, only that is taxed in India? Very good. And for non-resident, again Indian income is taxed. Obviously foreign income is not taxed. Just like that person now migrated to USA, he might be having a job or work in USA. So he is non-resident for Indian purpose and he is also earning salary from USA. That salary from USA will not be obviously taxed in India. Are you following? So each and every country has their own set of rules for taxation. Obviously his income he earned through salary in USA, that will be taxed in US. Are you following a little bit? Yes? That is why we are discussing what is the residential status. Understood? Yes or no? Quickly go through 2.3 notes, page 2.3. I'll give you a break after that. 2.3 page. Point number 1 to 4. I'll ask you a question. 2.3. Everyone there? Point number 1 to 4. Read it. So within 12 nautical miles on a ship, even that is Indian territory. That will be treated as physical stay in India. Yes. What about date of departure, date of arrival? It is a date first of all. It will be stamped on a passport or whatever that is. It will be stamped. That can be an evidence, okay, or proof that he was in India or when he has arrived or when he has departed. Are you following? So those dates are also important. So date of arrival will be considered as what? In India. I hope you are understanding arrival and departure. Arriving in India or departing from India. So date of departure is also considered as stay in India that day. Yes. Are you following? So both the days will be considered as stay in India. Understood? Yes. So how many conditions are there? Basic conditions and additional conditions. If both the basic conditions met, or even if one of them met, then ROR or RNOR. That means he is a resident. And to check whether it is ROR or RNOR, you have to also further check additional conditions. If both the additional conditions met, then ROR. If none of them met or only one of them met, then RNOR. If both the basic conditions not met, NR, non-resident. So obviously we don't check the additional conditions also. Clear? Okay. What is basic condition number 1? In the previous year, 182 days or more. That is basic condition number 1. But let us say if it's for a period of less than 182 days, so you can also have a chance to check basic condition number 2, which is, now in basic condition number 2, there are two situations or two conditions. More than at least 60 days in previous year and more than 365 days in previous 4 preceding previous years. Is it okay? So there are two conditions in basic condition number 2 also. What is additional condition number 1? Out of last 10 previous years, he should be resident in at least 2 or more, right? And what is again additional condition number 2? Now again compared to, instead of 4 years, we are comparing now 7 preceding previous years, and over there how many days or more? 730. Yes, okay. So obviously we will be given lots of data and you have to compare that with the conditions. Come to page 2.7. Question 2, 2.7. Brett Lee, an Australian cricket player, visits India for 100 days in every financial year. This has been his practice for last 10 financial years. Find out his residential status for the assessment year 1920. Okay, so first of all, Brett Lee hai to kya? Doesn't matter. We are not concerned with citizenship. We are only concerned with residential status. Okay. So, in every year he is coming for how much time? 100 days. Okay. What is asked in the question? Residential status. Even that needs to be calculated or computed as such. So computation of residential status of Brett Lee for PY. Bolo. 1819 or AY 1920. Very good. So at which year we should begin the computation calculation? What should be the earliest, closest year we will be writing? 1819 itself or 1718? 1718. Yes? Even 1819, no? You have to, for 1819 we are deciding his residential status? Yes or no? So in the previous year, he should be there for at least how many days? First condition is 182 and second condition is 60. Yes? Okay, at least I am writing 4 preceding years to the relevant previous year. Okay. So every year he is coming for 100 days given to us in the question. Since he is doing this since how many years? 10 years. So almost you can say again 8, 9, 2008, 2009. Whatever that period comes to. If at all required, we'll do that. But right now, just write only 4 years before your previous year. Done? What is basic condition number 1? More than stay in India. At least 182 days in PY. Which PY in this case now? 18, 19. Is he there for 182 days? No. Condition met or not met? Condition not met. We are writing basic condition number 1. Are you following? Yes or no? Okay. Second condition is what? And hai. That means both of them should be satisfied. Only then you will say basic condition number 2 also satisfied. So at least 60 days in PY 18, 19 and at least 365 days. Very good. In preceding 365 days or more रहेगा. हाँ, or more means what? और more मतलब क्या? In preceding 4 PY, that is between PY to PY. Are you following? Preceding 4 PY means which one? This one. 1, 2, 3 and 4. That means from PY 14, 15 to PY 17, 18. Are you following? 14, 15 to PY 17, 18. Yes? So at least first condition is met. I mean, in second basic condition number 2, first part is met. Yes. How many days? 100 years each. So obviously for 4 years, he is there for 400 days. Yes or no? Therefore, what will you say? Basic condition number 2 met or not met? Met. So will we go ahead or no? What have we decided now? Or what can we analyze by here? He is a resident. This is established. That means he is definitely not a non-resident. Are you all following? Additional conditions. Now there are two additional conditions. Yes? Now, for additional conditions, if both the conditions are met, he becomes ROR. Okay? And if none of them are met or only one of them is met, he becomes RNOR. So our work is only to find ROR and RNOR. Our work is not to find each and every condition whether being met or not. Are you following? Now in additional condition there are two conditions. Which one? Out of 10 previous years he has to be resident for 2 or more. Or second condition is 730 days or more in the last previous 7 previous years preceding the current previous year. Which one is easier to do? 730 days wala is easier to do. 730 days. Because in this question also right now, what have they given you? That he is coming for every year for 100 days. That means in the those 7 previous years, he is there for 700 days. Established. Yes or no? So is he satisfying the condition? No. So khatam na. So why we have to go back and check another condition? Are you following? Our work gets done even if one of the condition is not being met. Are you following? If that one condition is meeting, then you have to go and check other condition is meeting also or not. So just compare which one is easy to do. Are you following? Additional conditions. Seven 30 days, right? 730, no? So will you do now extra work of finding another condition also, whether is he resident or not every year? Not required, no? Bolo, ROR or RNOR? RNOR. What is the full form? But not ordinarily resident. मतलब कभी कभी आता है, but not for long time. Yes. So is he assessee for income tax purpose? Yes. He will be assessed in India in this example. Can you tell me orally what about additional condition number 2 or second additional condition? Two years he is not there. Huh? Huh? Not complete? 2 years. Have you read the condition? What is the another additional condition? He should be resident for at least 2 years out of 10 years. Okay. Only for the sake of our answer is over here. Okay. 18-19 में है ना, 18-19 is not relevant, 17-18, 16-17, 15-16, 14-15, just resident, ROR or RNOR doesn't matter, just resident. Tell me whether for PY 17-18 is he resident. How do we decide resident or non-resident? Basic conditions 1 or 2 met. Okay. For basic condition number 1, what is the criteria? More than 182 days. तो वो तो meet नहीं हो रहा है. Yes. What is basic condition number 2? 60 plus 365. That is matching. Check. Even that is the same criteria we use for 1819. No. In 1819, PY 1819, that is the same criteria we used. 60 days in PY, in the current PY, plus more than 365 days in the previous 4 PY. Are you following? So pay attention. For 1718, is it there more than 60 days? Yes. What do you have to check? Plus more than 365 days in its 4 previous years. मतलब कौन सा 1, 2, 3, 4. Every year he is there for 100. So क्या यहाँ पे कितना हो गया number? 400. So this year is he a resident? Yes. And same logic will follow for all the years except last 2 years, I think. Last year. Okay. यहाँ पे हो रहा है. Is he a resident? 16, 17? Yes. 15, 16? Yes. Are you following what is happening? For 14, 15? Yes or no? He is also a resident. Then 2010, 11, 2009, 10, 2008, 9 for example. For 13, 14, 1 यहाँ पे अपने को check करना है. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Yes, he is a resident. Yes, he is doing this since last 10 years. So of course don't consider 18, 19. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. यहाँ पे खत्म. Okay. Then this also resident. What about 12, 13? Is he a resident? Yes. यहाँ पे भी resident है ना? For that you will consider now these 4 years. Yes or no? Every year he is coming for 100 years. Okay. We'll check for 100 days. 100 days. Okay. What about 11, 12? 11, 12 में नहीं होगा? नहीं होगा. Because here it is nil. तो 11, 12 में क्या होगा? That condition of 60 days will be met. But the 4 previous years will be how much now? Only 300 and not 365. So in that case, you will become NR, non-resident. What about 10, 11? Again, non-resident. Yes or no? This also NR. And this also obviously NR. Yes. So he is resident for how many years? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6 only. Not for? No. He has to be resident for how many years? Out of 10 years? 2. तो condition satisfy हो रहा है कि नहीं? Out of 10. हाँ तो ये बच्चों, we are comparing his last 10 previous years. Are you following? Yes. Out of the last 10 previous years, he is non-resident for 4 years. Yes, that means from this to this, he is what? Resident. Now again check basic condition number, that 1 or 2, whatever that is. 1. Additional condition number, other one. What does it say? Repeat. Read it. He is resident in at least 2. So minimum 2. Hai na? Satisfied or not? He is a resident in at least 2 out of previous 10. Yes or no? Once you get 2 tick marks for resident, done. You don't even have to check next of the years. Are you following? Yes, but this is lengthy process little bit. This was little easier to do from the given question. Are you following? Yes or no? But additional condition number, this one is not met. Are you following? Of 730 days. Is this condition met? Additional condition? Yes, this is met in this question. Are you following? And when does a person becomes ROR? If both the additional conditions are met. So additional condition number, this is met, but the other one was not met. That's why we said he is RNOR. Understood? I hope you don't want to copy this. Okay? But at times if required, then we'll have to do this also, no? Are you following? If this 730 days criteria is met, we have to check each and every year, and if we get 2 tick marks, that means he is also resident, even that condition will be met, satisfied. Are you following? Okay. Next one. Question 3, 2.7. Mr. B, a Canadian citizen. Citizenship important? No. Comes to India for the first time during PY 14-15. During the financial years, मतलब 14-15 से लेके 14-15, 15-16, blah blah blah. His number of days in India are directly given to you. Determine his residential status for AY 19-20. So what will you write? Computation or determination of residential status of Mr. B. So write down. So 18-19, how many days? 70, then 150, then 90, 60 and 55. Okay. What is important? He is coming to India for the first time during PY 14-15. That means before that, 0. Number of days in India was 0. Very good. Before that. Okay. At least 182 days in PY 18-19. Condition met or not met? Not met. What is second condition? At least 60 days in PY 18-19 and at least 365 days from PY. What to what? Previous 4 previous years. So यहाँ से लेके 1, 2, 3 and 14-15 to 17-18. So his first part condition, first part is met. Yes, first part of second condition. At least 60 days. Yes, he is there for 60 days now. At least 60 days in PY 18-19. And how much should be the total at least of the previous 4 years? There should be how much total? At least 365. So is it so? No. $70, no? First year is 70 days. And show calculation. Don't just say 365 days met or not met. Show that number It might be more than or less than 365. Show that number. So write the numbers 150 plus 90 plus 60 plus 55. I want this presentation, okay? You are showing which numbers are to be added up. कितना हो गया ये? 355. Okay? So is basic condition number 2 met? No. Why? Because they go hand in hand, okay? In basic number 2 there are two parts. Understood? Therefore condition not met. पहला वाला क्या था? Not met. Second also not met. And non-resident. Very good. So next line, since both the basic conditions are not met, क्या नाम है? Mr. B is non-resident, okay, for PY 18-19. Done? Okay? Done? Question 4. Mr. C, a Japanese citizen, left India after a stay of 10 years on 1/6/16. So for 10 years before that period he was in India. Yes, throughout. Throughout मतलब समझ रहा ना? हाँ. So he is resident before that period. He is resident. Are you following? And he left India on 1/6/16. Then during the financial year 17-18, he comes to India for 46 days. Later he returns to India for 1 year on 10-10-18. Are you following his journey? Okay. So first he was in India for a long period of time, for 10 years something. Yes? Are you following? Then he left India on 1/6/16. So is he in India right now? No. On 1/6/16 he left India. He is outside India. During which financial year? 1670. During 1670 he left on 1/6/16. He is outside India now after that. But what happens in 1718? During entire 1718 he is in India for 46 days. Now when he came and when he left, that we don't know. So what will you assume? He came and he left. Because he is there for 46 days, no? He is there for 46 days. Okay? Because again given in next sentence, later he returns to India for 1 year on 10-10-18. So before 10-10-18 you can say he is not in India. Are you following? So he came to India again on 10-10-18. During which financial year? 18-19. Are you following this? Okay. So right now what you have to calculate obviously is residential status. So computation of, or basically the determination of Mr. C for PY 18-19, AY 19-20. Okay. What columns will prepare? Table, previous year and number of days in India. Okay. 18-19, how many days is in India? Pakka? So he later returns to India for 1 year on 10-10-18. So he will include 10 or not? You will include 10. So other way to do this is pay attention. Out of 365, pay attention now. Out of 365 days, you exclude the period up to 9th October 2018 in the question. He returned to India on 10th. In that case, whenever you are confused for October, how many days to consider? You can do both the ways. Entire 365 days minus period beginning from 1st April up to 9th October. That is one way to do. Pay attention. Or from 10th October up to 31st March 2019. But how many days to be considered under October? That again I'll tell you. October how many days? 31. Out of 31 he is not there in the month of October for how many days? 9. Always do this kind of calculation. 22. समझ रहे हो? Exclude the period he is not there, that is easier to do. So for the month of October he is not there for 9 days. So 31 minus 9, 22. So October 22. उसके बाद November 30 days. Tell me number of days. October के बाद November 30, December 31, January 31, February 2019. Leap year है? नहीं है. 28 days. And March 31, 173. I understand. One day here and there can make a difference. $173. हाँ, she said 172. इसलिए वही लिख दिया मैंने. 173. Okay. And as far as possible, be very clear in your calculation. At least for revision sake, write down those number of days. 22 days na in October. Yes, na 31 minus 9, 22. October, November 30, December 31, January 31, February 28, March 31. Yes. All right. Don't forget, it is we are discussing in India period. Okay. So follow only one method in India right now. So we are calculating number of days in India. What about 17, 18? It is given, I think. 46. Okay. 16, 17. Interesting. He left India on 1/6/16. Yes. So after 1/6/16, he is not in India. We are writing number of days in India. So from 1st April 16 to 1st June 16. Are you following? So for April, how many days? 30. May, 31. June, how many days of June in this example? Only 162. Yes. He is in India. And the rest of the period is now 366. Okay. 365 and so on and so forth. Yes. सिक्सटीन का लीप ईयर आएगा ना, 12 वाला, 16 वाला, 20 वाला, 8 एक्सेट्रा एक्सेट्रा. ओके. All right. We'll check now. Basic conditions. First one. What is the first basic condition? At least. क्या बात है सिद्धांत? At least 182 days. In PY. Which PY? 18, 19. Condition met or not met? Since he is in India for 173 days. Second basic condition is at least 60 days in PY 18-19. Very good. And at least बोलो 365 days in preceding 4 PY, that is from preceding 4 PY means 1, 2, 3, 4. That is PY 14-15 to PY 17-18. Next line, in PY 18-19, he is present for 173 days and in preceding 4 PY. Obviously it will be more than 365, but write the numbers. (46 plus 62 plus 366 na, and plus 365, whatever this amount is, 839 days. Condition met, more than enough. Yes. So he is a resident? Yes. You have to check ROR or RNOR. Which one you want to check? 730 days? If both satisfied, then ROR. Okay. If none satisfied or only just one satisfied, then RNOR. Okay. You want to check 730 days wala? We'll do that. At least 730 days in preceding how many? 7 PY. Yes? Can you read the actual numbers now? 7 PYs. So ये first पहले 4 तो हो गए? Yes or no? And what about, let us say 2013, 14, I am writing for example sake, okay? 12, 13 and 2011, 12. Even for these year he is for 365 days? Yes or no? Correct? So from PY 17, 18, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 up to 2011, 12 PY. हाँ ठीक है okay leap year okay one more day. So we'll write 46 plus 62 plus what are the numbers? 366 plus 365 plus 365 कितने 365 है? एडिशनल 2 है ना, एंड प्लस 366 के बाद 1 2 3 ऑब्वियसली, एंड प्लस 366 कितना हो गया? 1935 days. Condition met, more than enough, right? But we have to also check second condition, resident in. Resident in at least 2 PY in preceding कितने PY? 10 PY. बोलो. Obviously satisfied. Yes. How will you check this? 182 days is also sufficient, no? You want to check over here. Let us say. Okay. Should we check again 18, 19 for this condition? No, we are checking from 17, 18, 10 years back. Is he resident over here? कैसे बताए तुम्हें, कैसे समझाए? 46 डेज के लिए क्या चेक करोगे? इज बेसिक कंडीशन मेट? Less than 60 days? Nothing. No, not allowed. Okay, we'll do the table. Don't worry. We'll do the table. Okay. PY resident or non-resident. 18, 19 we have to do? No. 17, 18. You have the table also in front of you, number of days. For 17, 18, he is in India for how many days? 46. Whether he will be resident? To be resident, again you have to check basic conditions. Yes, basic condition number 1 is at least 182. Possible scope ही नहीं है, not satisfied. And basic condition number 2 was at least 60 days in PY as well as 365 days in previous 4 PY. Forget previous 4 PY. The first part itself is not met, or 60 days. So both the conditions not satisfied. So for 17, 18 he is NR, non-resident. Understood? 16, 17. He's for how many days? 62 days. चलो यहाँ पे 46 था ना? I'll write that date. 62. Over here now you have to check. Okay, whether he is both the conditions are being satisfied or not. Is he there? Basic condition number 1 is being met? No, because it requires more than 182. But basic condition number 2, what does it say? In PY, in this current PY, at least 60 days, and its previous 4 years, at least 365 days. तो यहाँ पे first part satisfy हुआ of basic condition number 2, yes. And second part के लिए again you have to do numbering. 62 के बाद क्या number था? 366, okay. 365. Obviously, मतलब it is obviously total is matching. Matching मतलब more than 365. Sorry? हाँ नहीं, that is okay. I am just explaining. तो both the conditions are met? Yes or no? यही पे एक साल में कंसिडर हो गया ना. 365 days is their minimum. So both the conditions met. What will it become? NR or resident? Resident. Still you have to check one more year of 15, 16. Now in 15, 16, basic condition number 1 itself is met. Which one? More than 182 days met. So resident. So do you have to check rest of the years? Not required. Our condition is now satisfied. In the last 10 previous years, he has to be resident for at least 2. यहाँ पे हो गया. We need not go further. Yes? Draw this table in very rough manner, but at least you should understand, because we are going to write this condition is met. How it is met, that you need to know, because in just earlier year he was non-resident. Yes? Obviously 14, 15, 13, 14, he is a resident. Condition met. Are you following? Additional condition number 2 in this situation now. And earlier also it was also met. Additional condition, both the additional condition met. So, ROR. Understood? So, leave one line, since both additional conditions met, Mr. C is ROR for PY 18, 19, correct? That tick mark is only for your sake, okay? What all conditions satisfied, not satisfied? Fine? ऊपर और कॉपी पेस्ट. All right. See you in next lecture now.